We can hear you, John.
U.S. Realty, of course, which is the major part of the business, and also Verbella, which is going to be a major business. It's really exploding. So I'm really happy that in addition to talking a little bit about the work that we're doing in the U.S. Realty team, that I've also got Alex Howland and Gabe Baker from Verbella coming towards the end of the presentation as guests, and they're also going to update us on what's next for the Verbella technology, which is responsible for this innovative VR-oriented working environment we're in. So, looking forward to what they'll be able to tell us as well. So, let me see if I can get over here to advance the slides. All right, did that work? All right, so in today's talk, first I wanted to just let you know some of the important strategic things we've been doing since the last time we spoke. And then I'm going to focus mostly on what this technology is doing to serve the agent community. I'm assuming most of you are agents or the companies, so I wanted to make sure we're focused on this topic area. The technology team obviously also does things that are kind of inside baseball, things that we do for the corporation that you might not see as agents or brokers, but we're going to focus in this talk on what I think has some effect on your ability to do your work and to keep eXp healthy and growing. So we'll talk about improvements we've made to core information systems. We'll talk about next the main application projects that are coming that you'll be interested in, and then we'll finish up with a look at futures for Verbella. So what have we been up to since eXpCon 2019? That's pretty much the last time I spoke to this large group. At the eXpCon in October, I was about 2 months into the job, and at that stage I had laid out a technology roadmap for the organization obviously in collaboration with senior leaders of the business and the technology group. And I'm pleased to tell you that we're making great progress on this. You'll see the highlighted in green initiatives are the ones that we've completed or are well on track. This includes, improved company posture on data security and data privacy. This is especially important for us now as we're expanding around the world, and we'll be expanding even more aggressively under Michael Valdez's leadership. Around the world, the attitudes about personal information are quite different than they are here in the United States, where it's kind of, you gave up your privacy for convenience a long time ago. Everywhere else in the world, there's a strong cultural attitude that personal information belongs to the individual, and companies have no right to it without permission. So we're about making sure that eXp and eXp Global can do the right things with respect to data privacy and data protection as we're expanding. We've improved the computing infrastructure and expanded our technical support capabilities. Our core applications, like the ones you're most familiar with, Enterprise, are written in the Mendix low-code software development platform. When we started to work with Mendix late last year and through the first quarter of this year to really get into the laboratory with them and demonstrate empirically that we could scale our business dramatically on that platform. And we've had good results with that testing, and I'll tell you a little bit more about this later, but we have now empirically tested that this app is totally capable of 4 times this workload, which is great news. And, of course, we didn't anticipate what was going to happen with the advent of the current global pandemic. And we did lose a few people to the cost-cutting measures that we needed to take about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. But one of the major suppliers of our software development talent are contractors. And we have a particularly good partner in one of them. And I worked with their CEO and was able to convince them to leave 29 people in place working pro bono for us, at least for the next couple months, to see if together we can get through this pandemic without disrupting the work and making sure that the contractors' people are productively employed. And it's just a fantastic thing. And the contractor is Indian, and they have just been a tremendous partner for us in helping us do that. So the result is that while we're slowed down a little bit on the pace of these projects, not nearly as much as it could have been without their assistance. The next thing is the application software side of the house. This is the part that you're probably most interested in. And you are probably aware that we spent a large part of last year working on taking an old monolithic application and breaking it into smaller components called microservices. And so the work on Enterprise V2 was that refactoring. And now we have split that application, for the most part, apart into an entire platform of smaller applications. Now, this is good because it makes them perform better. And we can also work on these application components now independent of one another, which helps to lower our risk and also lower our downtime. The next thing is this year we're changing our focus to Enterprise V3 and really concentrating on features improvements. The entire platform is undergoing change, designed to serve the business and agents better. The tech team is working on a large number of initiatives to improve our core applications. And some of them are oriented towards corporate operations, and about 27 of the recent initiatives and the next up initiatives are clearly focused on improving functionality for the agent community. I'd say these initiatives kind of sort out in 3 buckets, as I'm showing you here. Some of the projects we're doing are about plumbing. We just need to make sure we've done the right things to the pipes and wires under the cover to make sure that this environment keeps performing well and can scale and is bringing the right support to the working environment that you're in. There's a second group of projects which are really about resolving pain points, known issues with the application over the years that have really kind of been problematic or resulted in a slower business process than anybody would like. And so we've put a real concerted effort recently in knocking down these pain points as prioritized by our business side leaders. And then finally, and most exciting, is the new capabilities. And I'll talk more about these in a moment. But we're bringing major new applications to the universe of tools we've got, many of which are designed to substantially expand the business. So all of these projects, as we think about you as the user community, we're focused on 5 different goals. First and foremost is how do we do the best job of agent compensation? How do we make sure that agents are being paid accurately and quickly? How do we make sure that we reduce and to the extent possible eliminate errors and post-close corrections so that you are getting compensated properly and rapidly? Second is helping to attract and retain new agents. EXP is all about growth, and it's important that you have the tools at hand to make the benefits of being with EXP very clear, that we've put the right things in place for the business process of recruiting and joining and getting up to speed and able to do transactions, and to give you, as you are building the business, visibility and the ability to manage the folks that are in your network of agents. Next, of course, is lead generation. And who doesn't love new leads and referrals, right? Can I have an amen? So a few of our projects are focused here.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Then competitive advantage. What can we do to make sure that we've got the edge on the competition? And what can we do to make sure we have a continuing edge on this very innovative operating environment that we've created over the years and are expanding now? And then finally, and this possibly is less exciting, but nevertheless it's important for the whole business, is operational efficiency and cost control. We need to make sure that our solutions scale with our growth and that we're doing the best we can to keep costs under control and use our people wisely. So all of the projects that I'm about to go over with you sort into trying to advance these goals. So first, let's talk about the projects related to agent compensation. So in the US and Canada, we've done some work to improve the transaction processing system. And what you'll see here is I'm going to go over some of the projects that we have just recently completed. I won't go in great detail because it would be too much material for us to cover in this time frame. But I'm just going to try and give you a high spot, 1 or 2 important things that each of these projects bring. And the color coding here is going to be that these little yellow-orange symbols are about projects we've recently completed, certainly since the last EXPCon. And you'll see the blue ones that come up are the ones that are in our hopper now and we are working on next. So in the transaction...
John, I don't think we're on the same screen. I don't mean to interrupt. All I see
Oh,
is EXP World Holdings.
oh, it's not advancing for you guys, huh?
No.
Oh boy. Okay, hang on. Let me try and redo the crank wheel here.
And I know you're the most tech savvy person in the company, so that was definitely an accident.
Yeah, that, you know, sometimes crank wheel stalls if you're talking too long on a slide. I should take that under advisement, right? Let me send this out again. Okay.
John, our tech savvy social media person, Chris Armstrong, is in the audience. Chris, get up there and help him.
I think we got it. Hang on a sec. All right. I think you can see it now, right? Agent compensation.
Yes, it's up now.
Okay. All right. So let me come back here and drive from my presentation. Okay, so with respect to agent compensation, we have improvements that we've made to the transaction processing system. You see the symbol that says transaction processing enhancements?
Yes, yes.
All right, we're advancing then. That's great. So here we've done things like change the calculations in the transaction processing workflow so that it's using projected performance and scheduled close date, which helps us to lower the error rate and creates a better payment experience with fewer post-deal corrections for icons and capping agents. We've done changes to the settlement process to really significantly re-engineer this business process in cooperation with Stacy Onen's team, as well as changing the software so that we could create a big reduction in the errors and post-close corrections in the settlement part of the process. And we put in the tech for there to be a dedicated payment processing hotline. Then in the SkySlope application, which I know is controversial, some people love SkySlope and some people really hate SkySlope. But given that it is the official offering of the company at this time, my team and Amelie Quiznos in Stacy's team have been working directly with a vendor to make sure that we get them to install some functionality improvements in SkySlope that serve our purposes. So, for example, they have put a new earnest money data in the commissions tab. They've improved the search algorithm for files in SkySlope and allowed filtering on type and status. And they're working on forms capabilities and DigiSign 3.0 capabilities. We've also worked on the interface between SkySlope and Enterprise and made sure that we're porting over additional commission details so that we're able to do a more accurate job of understanding how agents are splitting commission and doing the right job of paying people. So these three, along with, or four, along with the hard work of the brokerage operations people, have really resulted in a much improved NPS score from you all regarding this process. So that's great news. We've also recently accomplished installing SkySlope in Canada, replacing their transaction desk application, which was really not well received by their people and causing a lot of operational problems. So it's a much better experience in Canada now, and we interfaced this version of SkySlope to Enterprise as well, eliminating some big duplicative data entry over in Canada.
Canada
So
loves
next,
SkySlope.
all right, that's good there. So next are things that are in the work queue now. They're not complete yet, but we're working on them. First is we're significantly enhancing what's called the payment processing work queue. And this will improve the ability of the people in payment processing to assign, manage change, and track work in payment processing for much more efficient cost control and a much quicker payment processing business process. The next is a pretty big deal. We, over the course of the fourth quarter of last year and the first quarter of this year, of course, implemented new applications that are internationally oriented and focused on our ability to, bring up the UK and Canada, the UK and Australia. And what's next for us now is working on international revenue sharing, especially across countries, so that we can start supporting Sponsors Without Borders. And all of that meant to, produce benefits in terms of faster processing, lower error rates, and, expansion of revenue sharing opportunities around the globe. So then, in terms of attracting and retaining agents, we've done work on the Join app, in which we improved agent login and landing pages and added real-time intercom chat so that a joining agent can, if they have a question, can get somebody right away in real time on a chat dialogue and get the problem solved quickly. We're working on international expansion, and especially now with Michael Valdez just joining the team. He and I have been working for actually a couple months on a new approach to international expansion that's going to utilize a couple of packaged software systems that are already multilingual. And we're going to interface those software systems to the unique parts of the EXP software world, like the Join app and like Revenue Share at the back end. But the ability for us to have more of a packaged software solution that we can drop in more of a cookie cutter standard approach is designed to help us expand internationally much quicker. Next up is work we're going to do on the agent attraction dashboard. You'll be able to see all the agents that have chosen you as their sponsor. You'll be able to see where they are in the join process so that you can do a better job of shepherding them and building your downline. We're going to be working on improvements to the status visibility for icons. So it's easier for staff and peers to see who is or who has been an icon and make sure these great producers get the ongoing recognition that they deserve. And then for the Agent Equity and Stock Awards, we're not changing the program, but we are redesigning the agent views in this application so that there be much better clarity on where you stand on both equity and stock awards. And all of that designed to add agents quickly through international expansion, through your own attraction efforts, and to make sure that we all know and can clearly see the leaders in our ranks. The next are some projects that kind of cut across and share their purpose in competitive advantage and lead generation. The first of these is Express Offers, which we brought online recently. And Express Offers is the platform that allows you to create an instant offer for a buyer with an institutional, a seller with an institutional buyer. And the lead routing engine is actually a component that was built for Express Offers that pipes leads from the public-facing website to Express Offers. But we built that lead routing engine so it's reusable and general purpose, and we'll be able to use it for routing leads in for various programs and for various other applications. We've done some work in the Mentor app just recently to create an easy-to-use dashboard to get mentors signed up. And we've automated the pairing of mentors and mentees to make sure that process can go much faster. It took a long time to do that manually in the past, and this has been an important improvement. Next up in this is our special projects team in my world is doing an application for electronic earnest money, which allows buyers to deposit earnest money, eliminating the need for handling paper checks. This is a big one. We are working on the implementation of referral brokerage. So that will be a separate brokerage under eXp World Holdings and oriented around referral business only. And that is actually underway now. We're doing work on the data services front. Tony Beach and team have created a flexible infrastructure of tools and curated data repositories that we can use for business intelligence and data analytics, much better facilities than we've had in the past. This includes ingesting data from about 90 of the major MLSs so far, covering just under 50% of the listings nationally. And Tony's team continues to plow through onboarding the other MLSs. So our goal ultimately is to have pretty much full national coverage. So we're just getting started with what we can do with this data in terms of identifying markets for growth and other analytics that are important for the visibility of our business. And then, of course, on the Virbela side, you'll hear more from Alex and Gabe in a couple minutes. But they've launched Team Suites. They've made the access to the mobile through the mobile application much better. We can get to much more of the world that way. They've, I think, markedly improved the voice system for day-to-day operations, and all of that is, resulting in aiding quicker um, uh, getting agents online, aiding agent production, and making sure we know where we can grow. And then finally, um, operational efficiency and cost control. First of all, we expanded tech support significantly. So now there's 24 by 5 tech support all around the world, including the UK and Australia and any of the other places we go into, and 24 by 7 DevOps monitoring of our critical infrastructure. So there's always somebody there to respond if there's a glitch any time of the day or night. We are, of course, completing the work on core applications and splitting them into pieces like transactions and intact microservice, mentor, and the organizational structure application. And we're almost totally complete with that. There's a small part of legacy enterprise that's still left to go, but we're hoping to get to that in the rest of this year. In addition to the functional improvements to SkySlope, we also worked with the vendor to make sure they implemented performance improvements. There were a number of business processes inside of SkySlope where the response time on the screen was very, very slow, and we worked with their technical teams to improve those situations. I mentioned to you before that we've put a major effort into empirically testing the scalability of enterprise with the expert services group at Mendix, and we feel good about those results. We know there are some architectural things that we will need to do in the next year or two so that we can scale past 4x to my goal, which is 8 or 10x. Then coming up, this is a big deal. If you were in the general session on Tuesday, you heard R.J. Jones mention an initiative to implement a transaction coordination service in the company. And I'm partnered up with him to make sure that we're doing the software side of that, which would be an application that would facilitate stakeholder communication and tracking of those deals as they progress. And then finally, on the data services side, with respect to operational efficiency and cost control, just a lot of capabilities to mine data from enterprise and use it to be able to fine-tune our own internal operation and make sure we're using the best, the most efficient use of the people that we put anywhere in the organization. So all of that trying to lead up to making sure that we're improving operations, we're able to scale as this company grows really fast, and that we're paying attention to things like compliance through the analytics that we can do with the data services folks. So with that, kind of the high spots of what we've been doing in the application world, now I wanted to switch gears a little bit and introduce an important person in our world these days. We're kind of blessed as an organization that we have more than one visionary leader. And Alex is certainly one of those people. He was able to use his unique background as an organizational psychologist to and his curiosity about were there better ways for people to interact with one another when they work remotely to create this world that we all work in now. And this incredible convention center. I don't know about you guys, but I was just blown away when I first walked into this convention center and saw how realistic it was. And I think the ability to walk around and run into people or walk over to the people you want to talk to really, really highlights, the wisdom and magic of this approach to remote work. So I'm really pleased that Alex was able to take a few minutes out and come and join us and bring Gabe Baker with him. Gabe has been leading a technology effort to prototype and expand the capabilities of new VR tech that runs solely in a browser. It doesn't require a big downloaded application like we use for EXP World. So two of these guys are going to help walk us through what we can expect uh, from those developments going forward. Alex, you
Hey,
there?
John,
All right.
Yeah.
John, before you leave, I just wanted to know if you could just quickly elaborate, or maybe give us a link where I can talk, where we can talk to you about the referral brokerage program, because I need to be a beta tester in that, man. I mean, my whole business is referrals, and I'll tell
Okay,
you,
that's
I don't
great.
want to take up your time, but is there a
No,
link?
that's great. Well, probably the most direct thing you can do is just reach out to me on email or on chat in the world. My email is just john.tobeson at dxprealty.net, or just find me on chat and we can talk. Love to do that.
You got it, John, and thank you. And I'm looking forward to hearing from Alex and my boy Gabe.
All right.
That's
We
it.
appreciate that.
All right,
What a
Alex.
welcome.
Take it away, my friend. I'm so grateful that you're here. I can't imagine what a whirlwind week this has been for you. And I'm sure I'm speaking for everybody in the room when I say you guys have just done an incredible job. And you've done that incredible job in an incredible short amount of time, between when we realized we couldn't do this in the real world and you guys built this amazing place for us to pull it off. So thanks for
Thanks, John.
being here,
Thanks, everyone.
and take it away, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. If I've done one thing right is hire people a lot smarter than myself around me. The team is just really fantastic, and I'm equally as blown away by what they're able to pull off. So thank you. And can I employ you to continue to drive the slides here,
You
John?
betcha. Just let
All right.
know.
All right.
Hang on. I'll get back to this. All right. There you go.
All right, if we go on to the next one. So first off, I covered this slide the other day for those who started to present on Tuesday, but I just wanted to show this graph really quickly that this is the explosion of users that we've seen the last 2 months in the Rubella Open Campus. It's been pretty insane. You can see our growth curve prior to COVID and then our growth curve after COVID, and we'll probably double up again this month. So it's been insane. And why is that important? It's important for a couple reasons. One, first off, we couldn't be in the position that we're in if it wasn't for eXp Realty. We're so appreciative of the feedback and the fact that you folks are here every day running this massive business through the platform, that we can quickly take that feedback and iterate so that we're getting recognized in the industry. It's pretty awesome. If we can go to the next slide. And we can't do it without the Verbella team. So I'm just so blessed again to have the team that we have. They're super creative, super smart, care so much about the user experience and how it's delivered, have great vision in where they want to take this. And we're growing the team. So the other advantage of our business growing outside of eXp Realty is that we get to double down, triple down on our investment in the team to move the platform, faster, that much more faster. So excited about the number of people we're adding to the team right now. We were about 25 a couple of months ago. I think we're closer to 65. We still have a bunch more positions open. So that's going to raise the tide for everyone, all of our clients across the board, including eXp Realty. We're hiring more senior developers, more artists, you name it. We're hiring them, and we're all going to benefit. And if we can go to the next slide, please. Before uh, before kind of COVID, we haven't been that recognized in the industry. We haven't been great at marketing, to be honest. So while we know we've had a great platform out there compared to some of the competitors, the rest of the world hasn't really known about it. Just within the last couple of months, respected third parties, in the space who know our competitors quite well, did some independent research without our involvement, and they came back and found that we were the best platform for for conferences and in big events on the enterprise side. And there's some big names on this list. So if we look at AltSpace VR, that's a Microsoft product. We see Mozilla Hubs. These are, we're not competing against little mom and pop development shops here and there. We're competing against big industry, and things are going fairly well. So again, really shout out to the team. There's still a lot of work to do. Things that are changing in the broader ecosystem, like 5G, better internet, better commodity hardware, will allow us to continue to push the limits and scale things and improve the platform. Go to the next slide, please. So holy shoot, we hit some big numbers this week. We've hit record numbers that we've never hit before. We had session, I think Barbara Jean shared this with me, it might have even gotten higher, but 1,081 people in an auditorium. I think our competitors support about 50, 50, as a max. So on the front end, you might not see some changes, but we're doing a lot of things to the pipe in the background to support larger and larger numbers, both within a room as well as across the whole campus. So I think on Wednesday, we had close to over 2,000 people in the environment at the same time. And wow, the impact on community, to see the level of community that can happen in EXP worlds, quite similar to what happens when we get face to face together is quite inspiring to see. And we know we need to continue to push those numbers because we know you all are going to keep growing the business. So we'll keep up on our end. Go to the next slide, please. So yeah, the convention hall, I hope you've all had a chance to experience it. If you haven't, definitely get there. But literally the team put this together in less than 2 months. It was a heavy sprint, lots of design meetings, a real team effort. Just really proud of the team. Hope you're enjoying it. This is what we consider iteration 1. It's only going to get better. And we want to think, what things do we do that are one-to-one, kind of replicate the real world? And then other ways, how can we do things in these types of environment that you actually can't do in the real world? So those are some of the things that go through our head when we're designing, and we'll continue to iterate, but quite happy with this first pass here, and I hope you're enjoying it as well. I know I ran into a couple of colleagues who I rarely see and don't work too closely with because they're more on the realty side, but I bumped into them there, and it felt, again, it's very similar to the in-person conferences that we've been going to. If we move along, so what's been cool in this unfortunate time of this pandemic, we've also seen an explosion of EXP folks getting EXP team suites. So team suites are private areas within EXP world that are purchasable for $100 a month, and they've also just exploded. We've seen huge uptick in usage of the world since the start of COVID, and it's a testament to the strength of the community that EXP Realty is, and their willingness to be agile and pivot to working remote. So it's been fantastic to see all the teams using a team suite and continuing their business. And next slide. So also, we think about accessibility of the technology, and we think about supporting kind of older technology, but also cutting edge new technology. So we'll continue to build out mobile application and the desktop application, but we're also pushing really far ahead. And you can actually today get into EXP world with a tethered headset. So like something like the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive. These aren't the standalone devices. We're still aren't quite powerful enough to run the worlds. So we want to build for those eventually. But right now you can get in here fully immersive, which might have some interesting applications going forward. Next slide. We also have I just got corrected that I really shouldn't be calling it a support center because it's not just for support. But one thing that we've kind of always struggled with is keeping up with EXP's growth, right? So if we create an area with 5 seats for support, pretty soon we need 10 and 15. So just like this auditorium, we can scale in and out. We're creating a system that a number of departments will be able to use to be really dynamic and agile as EXP continues to grow. And next slide. Really excited about this one coming over the next couple of months. It's in kind of beta right now and a little buggy, but imagine if I could be up on the big screen, right now with my face, with my live camera. I'd have to comb my hair, of course. But the opportunity for the screen, so wherever there's kind of a screen, there'll be an option to put on a webcam as well as native screen share. So right now we're using a third-party tool called Crankwheel. We're building a native webcam screen share tool as well to make the user experience really clean. So we're really excited about this. Long time request, still some work to do, but really excited by it.
This will be terrific when this is ready.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, that's
excited.
a game changer, man. That's a
All right.
game changer.
All right.
Alex, this is Jay Nelson. I've been telling you that for, man, I'm pumped.
Yes,
I
you
was
have.
waiting for you to say it. Love you, bro. Thanks for everything you're doing.
All right. Appreciate it, Jay. I need to move along here because I want to make sure Gabe gets up here, but we're diversifying the avatars to really be aligned with the global community that EXP is becoming and represent multiple cultures. So we're working on those efforts going. And here we are, Frame VR. So as an organization, we're really thinking about the future of work and these immersive technologies and how they fit into collaboration, team improvement, productivity, and that sometimes means not just working on a single tool, but working on some different complementary tools. So we hired Gabe Baker here a little over a year ago now, and wow, he and his team have just been crushing this new tool that is going to be quite powerful going forward. That's entirely on the web, no client download. So with that, Gabe, I'll turn it over to you.
Hey, Alex, thanks for the kind words there, and really amazing just to be up on this stage here with you and John chatting about Frame. So there'll be there'll be a little repeat. What was that?
This is Mike Everhart. I love you, man.
Oh, hey, Mike.
We go way back.
We do. There'll be a little repeat for those that were here a few days ago, but I'm going to try to keep that limited, and then there'll be a little bit more on kind of the technology side. So Frame overall, it's a beta experimental product we're kind of incubating here at Virbela, and it gives us the opportunity to rapidly experiment with new features and new tech stacks and new designs. The Frame beta, it's built really using fundamentally different technology than Virbela. It's created with open web standards rather than a game engine. There's a new browser API called the WebXR API that we're using for Frame, and essentially it just lets you create immersive stuff that runs right on a web browser. It can also render those experiences on VR headsets and also on browsers right from mobile or Chromebook or desktop. Now, there are certainly some limitations to WebXR, specifically around the size and quality of the 3D environment and also the scale of the multi-user interaction, like the kind of interaction we're having right now with hundreds in a space or the thousands that Virbela now enables aren't yet possible. These are things that core Virbela does particularly well, and they're getting a lot better at really every week. So Frame right now is positioned more as a tool that's good for smaller meetings with no more than 20 people at this time. It does have some interesting features. You can import 3D models, 360 photos. You can create immersive presentations that you can take an audience through. I remember in 2019, I gave John the pitch for Frame, and I did it inside Frame by guiding him through an immersive presentation. This sort of accessibility and content creation opens up interesting possibilities for realtors and the world at large. You could possibly use it for lightweight online property tours or online meetings with clients that don't require a download or install. So a really quick update about where Frame is. We launched the beta a few months ago. We've had close to 2,000 people make accounts. There have been close to 30,000 connections to multi-user frames. We've got a big update coming out in a few days with our first version of avatars and a really nice new outdoor theater environment. In terms of the team working on Frame, we've got a core team of 2 within Virbela. We work with a crew of freelancers around the world, and we hope to add another core member to the team possibly as soon as next week. So overall, we're kind of cultivating the expertise that will keep Virbela well positioned to take advantage of new developments that are coming to web browsers in the 2020s. One of the traditional limitations of browsers is that they can't take advantage of a device's processor and computing power in the same way that a native app is able to. This is why you can't play some video games directly from a browser. Like you can't play Grand Theft Auto 5 from Chrome. They need to be installed one way or another. There is a new technology called WebAssembly that's picking up steam that actually does allow web browsers to run native code that takes full advantage of a device's capabilities. So this is going to open up really tremendous possibilities, both for Frame and for the core Virbela product down the road. More about large-scale networking on the web so that we could eventually have large-scale multi-user interactions from the browser. And this is really only one of many routes to this. The advent of 5G means that highly detailed immersive experiences will be able to be rendered on some server somewhere in the cloud and then streamed to any device that has internet access. So overall, we're just making sure we stay up to date with all of the above technology so that we can be on top of it and not playing catch up in a few years. And Frame kind of gives us that testing ground to really rapidly prototype with some of this new stuff that we're confident will eventually trickle to the core Virbela product, and also might make Frame a valuable product that has its own legs and can be monetized on its own. So I do encourage you to check out Frame at framevr.io. You can email me at gabe@framevr.io if you have any questions about it. We also do have a new workplace group for Frame VR, so please join that as well. Thank you, John and Alex, for giving me the time to ramble up here about Frame.
All right, that's great, Gabe. When you gave me the pitch a little while ago, one of the very interesting things you showed me was how 360 photography really plays well with this technology, and how you could really, walk through a scene and a scene that had been augmented by three-dimensional objects that you had put in the scene is very powerful, and I'm looking forward to the applications you're going to cook up.
Cool.
All right. Well, I think that does it for us, gang. I'm hoping that we've been able to give you a little taste of the things that we're trying to do to support the growth of the business and the success of the agent community. And if you have any questions for any of the 3 of us, don't hesitate to reach out on chat or an email, or buttonhole us in the halls of the convention center. Be happy to talk. And really, thanks for being here. Appreciate you hanging out with us on Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Jason Gessing, I think, is coming up here next to talk about agent healthcare. And have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey,
Take
John.
care, everyone.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
Is Alex still around? I just wanted to ask him about this music software.
I don't know that he is. It looks like
Oh, okay.
he popped out.
All right. Well, I'll catch up with him sometime, and I'll catch up with you later on. I'll send you an email. Thank you, John. This was a
All
great
right.
class.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.